Okay, so at this juncture, we'll just go to the next session, the next panel session, and I'm going to just invite the coordinator to take over from here in the person of Mr. Adeboyejo Arumolara. Please, a round of applause for him as he walks to the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, learned silks, and all persons present. Our next session is going to be discussing the business of law, profitability without compromising professionalism. Now, this is a topic that is very dear to me, as well as all members of the committee, and I think should be relevant to everybody present here. It's a session that seeks to discuss, in a nutshell, how lawyers can make money in the modern space and whilst balancing highest ethical standards and maintaining the highest professional conduct. Now, in a few seconds, I will welcome the panelists who would give flesh to this session that I again encourage us all to pay rapt attention and engage extensively. They are persons with several decades of law practice experience under their respective belts in Nigeria and outside Nigeria as well. Some of our panelists are well known to you all. In fact, most, if not all, are well known to you all, and I will introduce them in a few minutes. But first, I must communicate the apologies of the panel chair, Professor Dorothy Ufot, SAN, who is held up in traffic. She will join us in a few minutes, but we would start in our absence as directed by her. The alternate panel chair will be the first to come up in the person of Mr. Aderemi Oguntoye, SAN. Now, Mr. Oguntoye is a senior partner at Oguntoye and Oguntoye LP, one of the oldest law firms in Nigeria, established far back in 1949. Mr. Oguntoye is a legal practitioner with several decades of experience in corporate and commercial law practice, as well as the energy industry, and is very, very passionate about mentoring the next generation of lawyers as to how they can build sustainable law firms and legal practice. I also have the distinction and the pleasure of informing you all that I also cut my teeth under the wings of Mr. Oguntoye. Please give him a round of applause. Next on the list is Mr. Lateef Omoyemi Akongbe, SAN. Please give him a very, very hearty round of applause. Now, Mr. Akongbe is not just a senior advocate, he is also a member of the body of benchers, the highest legal body in Nigeria, as we all know. Mr. Akongbe is also the former chairman of our branch and currently serves as the managing partner and head of dispute resolution at his firm. Mr. Akongbe is a legal practitioner also with several decades of experience under his belt in both corporate and commercial law practice, as well as in dispute resolution. He has represented several international clients in intricate tax matters and serves as the membership officer for Africa in the IBA Taxation Committee. He is a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK Nigeria branch, and has led in various leadership roles in the institute. He is also a member of the Business Recovery and Insolvency Practitioners Association of Nigeria. Please give Mr. Akungbe a very, very hearty round of applause. Up next is Miss Florence Shako. Now, I'll inform you all that Miss Florence Shako came all the way from Nairobi, Kenya, to participate in this conference. She's a legal practitioner in Kenya with several decades of experience as well. And she is the senior partner at Mitola, Shako, and Associates LLP, as well as the founder and executive director at the Center for Education Policy and Climate Justice. She has a keen interest in business and human rights and matters related to sustainability and climate justice. She's currently the vice chairperson of Women in ADR, a professional association dedicated to paving the way for women from diverse professional and cultural backgrounds to excel in the field of ADR. She's very, very passionate about research and is well published both locally in Kenya and internationally. And she speaks with respect to her various interests across the globe. Please help me welcome Ms. Florence Shako one more time. And let us give her a very, very warm welcome, as I have assured her that Nigerians are very, very welcoming people. And finally, Mrs. Oladoyin Ononuga. Please give her a very, very hearty round of applause. Mrs. Ononuga is a very seasoned commercial law practitioner with decades of experience as well. Every single member of our panel has decades of experience. Combined, they have about 100 years or thereabouts experience cumulatively. With several years of experience in providing strategic legal advice and support in complex commercial transactions. Our areas of expertise include structuring, negotiation, and review of general commercial contracts, corporate restructuring, and insolvency, and other related matters. She's a partner at CLP Legal, one of Nigeria's leading law firms, as well as a member of ICSAN, as well as the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, UK. Please give Mrs. Ononuga a very, very hearty welcome. And at this point, I will yield the mic to the alternate chair in the person of my boss, leader, and mentor, Mr. Aderemi Ogutoye. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Learned jurists here present, distinguished senior advocates of Nigeria, members of the body of benchers, our effective members of the executives of Nigerian Bar Association Lagos branch, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you to our chairman. It's been 2 years of what I term impactful leadership. A round of applause for the executives of MBA Lagos branch. You can do better than that. Thank you. I was meant to be a panelist until about 30 minutes ago when I heard that Professor Dorothy Ufot SAN will not be able to make it early. So she sent me a prepared text to set the tone, and I'm going to read it before I go back to my seat. Adeboejo, thank you for your kind words. I'm sure you're all wondering the business of law, profitability without compromising professionalism. This is 2025. How is this done? Is this even possible? As a lawyer who has many Gen Zs in my firm, in our firm, you realize that some questions are better discussed. So, I read Mrs. Ufort's remarks. In today's fast-paced and highly competitive business environment, law firms and indeed lawyers are increasingly driven by the imperative to maximize profits. The relentless pursuit, however, often brings with a complex set of ethical dilemmas, particularly for young lawyers who are often on the front lines of operational execution of our practice. The pressure to meet financial targets can sometimes lead to practices that blur or cross ethical boundaries, raising significant concerns about the moral fabric of the law firm cultures. How do lawyers perceive and navigate the pressure to compromise ethical norms in favor of enhancing profitability? This session aims to understand the factors that influence lawyers' decision-making when confronted with the need to balance ethical considerations against the demands of financial performance. This session also aims to shed light on the underlying dynamics that fuel ethical compromises in the law firms. There is no doubt that the legal profession has undergone significant changes in recent years, with law firms facing increasing pressure to operate as business while maintaining their commitment to professionalism, and in our own climate, our rules of professional conduct. The challenge lies in striking a balance between profitability and professionalism, ensuring that the pursuit of financial success does not compromise integrity and ethics that define the legal profession. It is noteworthy that law firms are businesses that require effective management, strategic planning, and others. Therefore, to remain competitive, firms must invest in technology, talent, and marketing, while managing costs and optimizing revenue streams. This business-focused approach enables firms to deliver high-quality services, attract and retain clients, and stay ahead of competition, because competition is real. Professionalism is a cornerstone of the legal profession, built on principles of integrity, honesty, and respect. Lawyers have a duty to uphold the law, act in the best interests of their clients, and maintain the trust and confidence of the public. Accordingly, professionalism requires a commitment to ongoing learning, adherence to ethical standards, and the dedication to serving the needs of our clients. There is largely a need to balance. There's clearly a need to balance profitability and professionalism. To achieve profitability without compromising professionalism, law firms must adopt a nuanced approach that balances business imperatives with professional obligations. This can be achieved by client-centric approach, efficient operations, talent management, ethical leadership, innovative thinking. Overall, the business of law requires delicate balance between profitability and professionalism. By adopting a client-centric approach, efficient operations, talent management, ethical leadership, and innovative thinking, law firms can achieve financial success while maintaining the highest standards of professionalism. Ultimately, the pursuit of profitability and professionalism are not mutually exclusive. As a matter of fact, they are intertwined, with each reinforcing the other to create a successful and sustainable law firm. Thank you. Those are the remarks of the chair of the session, Professor Dorothy Ufot. So yes, a round of applause for Professor. Before I take my seat and allow the panelists to do justice to the topic, in 2009, the law firm of Linklaters reached out to the law firm I was working with at the time. And they had a major energy advisory work to give the firm. I was the contact person. So when I got the email, out of excitement, I said, yes, this is it. But upon looking closely at the brief, I realized that there were third parties and counterparties related to that transaction who the firm had advised in another transaction. So there arose the question, conflicts of interest. So I walked up to the supervising partner at the firm and I said, it appears we're conflicted. And the partner looked at me. Are you willing to let go of $200,000 on the altar of conflict of interest issues? Then I replied, it is what it is. What is important is for us to let the client know to start with. So I composed an email and sent to the firm of Linklaters. And I said, we're sorry. You listed 3 parties that are related to these transactions. And you wanted to know if we have had interaction with any of the parties. We had interaction with party B specifically. And they said, wow. Okay, now can we have a call to discuss this? So 48 hours after, we had a discussion. And the firm of Linklaters said to us that they had reached out to the client, and the client had just one question. Said, when was the time that you advised party B? And how is that going? Has it been concluded? And we said, yes, the advisory had been concluded. At that point, they said, we will come back to you within 24 hours. They came back to us and they told us that they are willing to waive that conflict of interest issue because we came out clean. Accountability. So we got the brief, we also got the respect of the law firm of Linklaters. This is what this topic is all about. Many younger people today, or even older people, don't let me categorize, will say to you, must you spill? Why couldn't you just keep quiet and just do the work? That is a possibility, but somehow they might get to know. And when they get to know that you're actually conflicted and you did not declare, your reputation and integrity will take a hit. As professionals, our currency is reputation and integrity. Thank you for listening to the opening remarks. Ms. Ononuga, I'm going to start with you. And please, my question to you, the very first question to you, How can law firms prioritize client needs while maintaining profitability and professionalism? I'll take that again. How can law firms prioritize client needs while maintaining profitability and professionalism? The key phrase there is client needs. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Leonard Silk. Okay. Good afternoon, Leonard Silks, Leonard seniors, and Leonard colleagues. So the question says, how can we prioritize clients' needs whilst maintaining professionalism and profitability, right? And as lawyers, we are service providers. We practice law to provide service to our clients. And clients' needs are really important. I don't want to say paramount, but client needs are really important. That's why we practice law. Rule 14 of the RPC says that a lawyer shall devote his energy, attention, and expertise to the services of his clients. It's about the service we provide. And subject to any rule of law, act in a manner that is consistent with the best interest of his clients. So on one hand, we are service providers, but on the other hand, we are also here for the bottom line, profitability. So the question is, how do we then manage, or is there a conflict between client needs and profitability on one hand and professionalism on the other? Is there a conflict? Is there a conflict between client needs and financial gain? How do we manage this conflict? I would say that if you consider Rule 14 very well, it says, subject to any rule of law, act in a manner that is consistent with the best interest of your client. And so, if we go back to Rule 1 of the RPC, it says that lawyers must uphold the rule of law and act with the highest standards of conduct, highest standards of professional conduct. In the same vein, Rule 15 says that lawyers must uphold the law, operate with the bounds of the law, and when we are given a contrary instruction by clients, decline such services. We should not encourage illegal conduct. So I would say that in this regard, if there is a conflict between client needs and profitability on one hand and professionalism, while client needs are important, professionalism is paramount. We also have a duty to act competently. So Rule 16 says that a lawyer shall not take a brief which is essentially not competent to handle. In that regard, where except his client's objects, he has to collaborate with another lawyer that is experienced in the subject matter. So client needs are important, but I would say that professionalism is paramount. More importantly, Rule 23 of the RPC also obliges us as lawyers to not use our position in a manner that is detriment to our clients. It says that we must report monies, account for monies and properties promptly. We have cases that are rife with lawyers who act contrary to the provision of Rule 23 of the RPC. So I would say that client needs are important, but professionalism is paramount. And I'll conclude by saying that no amount of money, no opportunity, and no relationship is worth our license as lawyers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I want us to make this as interactive as possible. We're going to take questions at some point. Ms. Ononuga, thank you for your thoughts. I want you to consider this and just share your opinion What do you do in the circumstance where, so it's Ileya holiday. A client says, I want you to please take a look at an agreement within 5 hours, because that particular agreement is going to fetch him about ₦1 billion within 24 hours. And that though it's Ileya holiday, you must please go through the agreement within 5 hours in order to get paid your required fees for that advisory. By the way, this is a live situation that happened to yours truly. A few days ago during Ileya festival, the client says, Mr. Oguntoye, please, where are you? I said, I'm at some Ileya party. I'm eating Ileya meat. He said, are you able to leave what you are doing to come help us review this agreement within 4 hours? Because we need to sign. Now, Mr. Akongbe, hosted a lot of people for Ileya, so you understood what I'm talking about. So the question is, when I left the Ileya party, as you would know, Lanet Silk, Agbakoba said, how much did I charge? So I left the Ileya party immediately, and I went for the meeting, and the agreement was about 120 pages. On a good day, to review the agreement, Ms. Ononoga, by our standard in our firm, time billing will set in, because you have to properly review a 120-page agreement. In that kind of circumstance, I'll come back to tell you how my experience ended, but I just want you to tell us, how do you review a 120-page agreement within 3 to 4 hours professionally, not minding the profitability of the percentage you're looking at? Please, in 2 minutes, address this before we go to the next panelist. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. To review a 120-page agreement in 3 hours, it's important that we are honest with our clients. It's important to manage their expectations, and it's not good to overpromise and underdeliver. Because at the end of the day, while you are considering profitability, your reputation is also at stake. You don't want to earn money and have a reputation for doing shoddy work at the end of the day. So it's important to manage your clients' expectations and then let them know if it will not be possible. But you don't want to overpromise and undeliver and do a shoddy job at the end of the day, because ultimately you wouldn't be acting in the best interest of your clients if you do a bad review or that take a poor review of the agreements you're being asked to review.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ononoga. Okay. I go to Ms. Shako now. How can law firms manage the tension between billable hours and profitability while maintaining quality client service? I'll take that again. How can law firms manage the tension between billable hours and profitability while maintaining quality client service?
Thank you for the question. All protocols observed. I just want to quickly say I'm really grateful to be here today. It's my first time in Lagos. It already feels like home. I'm really happy to be here. And I'll answer your question as an entrepreneur with her own law firm, all right?
Good.
Where you want to make money. Don't you want to make money?
Of course.
Yeah? But we also want to make sure the client is happy. So how do you do that? So first of all, it's some of these soft skills. For example, clear communication. You need to be honest with your clients regarding your billing practice. How much are you charging them? When you're giving them the letter of engagement, be clear. It's a lie that clients don't want to pay. They just want to pay fairly, and they want to be clear and have the clarity on what is expected in terms of billing. So tell them this is the billing. As you progress on tasks, talk to them about them, talk to them even about associated costs. You don't start a brief and then in the middle you start telling the client, oh, I've just remembered there's a disbursement. What do you mean you just remembered? You need to make sure that that kind of billing is clear. These are my legal fees, these are the disbursements, and that way the clients will be happy. Something else you need to do, and I'm glad she mentioned it, is managing expectations. When clients come to you, their expectations are through the roof. You need to make sure that these expectations are realistic. When a divorced client comes to you and says, I want to be divorced in 1 month, I want to get away from this man. Is that realistic? You don't go there saying, yes, 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 come, I'll help you. You tell them, listen, our courts have delay, at least in Nairobi. It'll take a minimum of 1 month. This is the charges as we go. And this kind of managing expectations is what will make the client happy, other than you giving false promises. Something else I'd say is regular feedback. As you work through the brief again, make sure you have feedback mechanisms. Tell the client, gauge their satisfaction levels, right? You can always tell when a client is happy, when a client is becoming unhappy, gauge it and give them regular feedback so that they're happy. 2 quick more points. One is focus on value. A client should not think that every time I see an email from Florence Chako, she's asking about money, all right? You need to focus on value and make sure you give them an efficient service with positive outcomes. You tell them, listen, this is how your matter is going. You encourage them. You tell them it's going well, right? This succession matter is going well. In fact, we are recording in record time. So you need to make sure you focus on that value. And lastly, because I know I can talk for a very long time, improving efficiency and time management. It's really, really important that you do accurate time tracking. A lot of law firms, you have that. But also something that us Africans tend to fear, leverage technology. You hear the word artificial intelligence, some of you are thinking it's witchcraft. It is not. You need to find ways of using artificial intelligence. It's really useful in terms of drafting contracts, managing time, litigation analysis. It's true there's a global conversation about the ethics of AI, but at the same time it has its benefits. So for me, when it comes to managing, I want the money, but I want my client happy. Those are some of the considerations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Chako. Thank you very much for your thoughtful response. I was able to pick a few things. We will summarize at the appropriate time. Now I understand why, I think it's your Prime Minister or the President of Kenya that came out and said Nigerian men are taking all the women in Kenya. So divorce turnaround time is 1 month. Could that be one of the factors?
My point being that it is impossible to get that divorce within that timeline. It is not realistic. Manage your client expectations. But to clarify, Kenyan women do love Nigerian men.
There we go. Kenyan women do love Nigerian men. Professionalism and profitability. Kenya, here we come. Thank you. Ms. Chako, when you are leaving Nigeria, Lagos on Saturday, a number of people will come with you. Anyway, that's an aside. Our former chairman, Alhaji Akombe, how can law firms measure success beyond financial metrics and prioritize professionalism and client satisfaction? I think the main question is the first leg, sir. How can law firms measure success beyond financial metrics?
Good afternoon, Lagos branch. I want to thank the leadership of the branch, first of all, for giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts on this very vital and timely discourse. But basically, what that question is saying is that law is as much a business as it is a profession. And because it's a business, what are the metrics for measuring success beyond the bottom line and beyond the naira and the kobo, or the bottom line? Because of the fact that as lawyers, we also have a calling, a higher calling, which is to uphold the law, to ensure rule of law, and all the ethical, observing the ethical rules of our profession, the only noble profession as we all know it to be. So beyond the bottom line, beyond the finance, what are the metrics for saying I'm running a successful practice? And I think the simplest way to say it is your work, your instruction is one of the ways to measure your success. And when I say your work, when I say your instructions, I'm talking about clients now. Now your ability to attract clients, attract the kind of work that you want to do. Now, and that ties into ability to get the work, to do the work very well, and to retain the client. Everyone in this room that runs a law firm will tell you that client retention is even more difficult than getting the client in the first place. That's true. Because by stroke of luck, or by your family network or social networks, you can get the brief. You can, if your uncle happens to be the first bank of, the MD of First Bank or what have you, they can give you that recovery. You want to recover 15 billion naira. But what do you make of it? Now, you might be lucky and do the job and be able to recover, but in the process of doing that, they're watching you and you might not get another one. So your ability to get work is a metric for measuring your success as a law firm. Now, and again, because of the fact that as a law firm, your greatest asset is your manpower, your lawyers. Also, your ability to attract talent is also a metric for measuring success. Ability to retain that talent, develop them, and retain them is also a measure of success. In my law firm, in my building, I share a building with two other law firms. My firm is on the 7th floor. The 9th floor is ACAS, Adepetun, Kaxi Martin, Tagbo, and Shegun. On the 10th floor is Udo Odoma. So we're the three law firms in that building. And I tell you, every time there's a call to bar, every single day you see entrance to the bar, the new lawyers sharing their CV from floor to floor. They start from 7 to 9 to 10. It's a normal occurrence every year in, year out that happens. So ability for people to realize that, yes, this is the kind of law firm I want to work in is also a measure of success. Now, then ability again to even develop the talents that you have and retain them, retain lawyers, is also a measure of success. Now, I've been in a situation before where there are law firms that people see them as a learning ground. They breed lawyers for you, and people come there and poach lawyers. There are also law firms who don't poach, who don't grow. They just look for a finished article and they poach them. So you also have that. So ability to have an environment where lawyers can come and learn is also a measure of success. In my firm, I give you an example of my firm. I never wanted to practice, although I'm a senior advocate of Nigeria today. My plan before was to, I'd done my master's, I wanted to come to law school, do my law school, then go back. I'd gotten a scholarship to do a PhD, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to UCL and do a PhD, but my parents wanted me to do the law school, then go back. After my law school, I served in the firm of Abalaki & Co. I liked practice. I enjoyed it then. After my service here, I went to my current firm, Shofunde Osako and Belgore. And I said my plan was I was going to do 1 year, get some practice experience, and go and do my PhD. I met Mr. Shofunde SAN. For those that know Shofunde in the room, we know Shofunde is a lawyer's lawyer. It made me fall in love with practice. The way he practiced law. He was, by the way, for those that don't know Mr. Shufunde, he was the first youngest SAN Nigeria ever saw. He was at the age of 38 in 1988. So meeting someone like that, working under someone like that, for me, he changed my entire view about practice. And that is also a way of measuring success. Ability of people to want to work with you, to develop them and train them. And I learned everything I know about the law today under Shufunde, and that's why I'm who I am today. Now, so that is also one of the metrics for measuring success. Then again, well, it's something that young lawyers would like to hear today. You know, growing up, we weren't exposed to that. When you have your lawyers, the work environment is also one of it. In work-life balance. Are you able to give work-life balance? Your working hours? You know, Mr. Agbakoba said yesterday, SCN, that he didn't like the work from home. And I agree with him, because for me, mentoring is about mirroring someone. The fact that I'm able to go to a meeting with you, and when something happened in this particular way, this is how Mr. Agbakoba reacted. That is how you react to this question, when the client asks the question. Those are the things. So, but nowadays, people don't like to hear that. A lot of people want to do 2-3 days from home and all of that. And I don't want, because I want to be popular with people, I'm going to advocate for it as well. That is the way to go. So, also, there's something that lawyers don't really do. Some law firms do that, which is pro bono and community service. It's also a way of measuring success in law firm ability to take pro bono cases. I think people should take that. And to underscore that, I'm sure we all know that to be a senior advocate of Nigeria, you must take on pro bono cases. That's to show that it's one of the measures of measuring success in law firms. So, to round it up and leave more time for questions, the essence of the question is, as a law firm, how do you measure success? Don't be too focused on, or let me say, profitability is not the only measure of success. Longevity is one of it. How long have you been around for? Which ties into succession. They say there can't be success without succession. We all know, the older people in these law firms, know the thriving and successful law firms in the 80s that are no longer around anymore. In the 90s, close to the 90s, partnership started. My firm started, so many firms like that started partnership in Nigeria. A phenomenon that wasn't very current, that wasn't very popular in Africa. Now, those partnerships are being tested today, 20 years on. How are they being tested? Most of the founding partners there are getting to their retirement age today, and people are testing them. Are they going to leave the scene or not going to leave the scene? My firm had 4 founding partners. 2 have left. Someone like me joined the firm in 2005, an associate. Today, I'm the managing partner of the firm. And that's success. That's succession. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Akongbe, learned senior advocate of Nigeria. You have mentioned and highlighted a couple of factors that can serve as metric for success. And you talked about client retention. You talked about client management. You talked about ability to attract lawyers. And finally, you talked about sustainability and longevity of the firm. Thank you. I'll come back to you. However, there's a question. Today, we deal with millennials, we deal with Gen Zs. And that SUV you're driving, Mr. Akongbe, to Ben, I say, which of them? In 2-3 years at the bar, some of our colleagues who are joining us at the bar, they want to drive that same SUV. How do you balance their expectation of your success with sustaining the law firm? Because you realize that when you started practice, Mr. Akongbe, the amount of money you were being paid as salary if you juxtapose that with the starting salary of a new entrant into your firm today, sometimes they question the amount of money you are paying them as a monthly net salary. So just in 2 minutes, Mr. Kongwe, what can be done, to deal with this issue?
Well, I always say to people that one major problem we have in Nigeria is the economy. Economy is really bad, and it affects what we pay our lawyers. And like from the discussion yesterday, tutelage is now no longer attractive to lawyers because of the salary they get paid. And I say to them, listen, there is no fast lane in what we're doing. We're in a special profession. We're bound, or we have to do everything within the confines of rules of ethics, and we have to uphold it. I give you an example before I just drop the microphone.
Yes.
Every now and then, you would have situations that would test you, test your moral principles, test your values at all times. I always tell my lawyers, a situation where I was doing an election petition a while ago before I took silk. And I was offered, by the respondent who won the election, I was offered $50,000 to compromise the case. As at the time, the fee that the firm was paid, if you convert it to dollars, was about $15,000. That which went to the firm, not even my pocket. And I was being offered $50,000. Now, I could have taken it then. Take it, compromise the case, compromise someone else's future. Now, I would take that money and I would have finished that money today. My conscience will be there. Whenever they're talking about integrity, ethics, I won't, in good conscience, be able to join the conversation. Even if I do so, my conscience will tell me, why are you being hypocritical? Remember what you did, a while ago. But today, there's no fast lane. I'm worth a lot more than that money today. Some other people determined my own fate when I was not there. Who knows whether if I'd done that to that person, I would have gotten the consequence of doing that. So that being conscious of what you're doing as a lawyer, knowing that it's not all about money, it takes a while. What we do is practice. Practice means that you're doing something over and over. When we started this profession, when it was started, people never used to go to university to become lawyers. It was apprenticeship. You attach yourself to a law firm. The way mechanics and carpentry, the way it is done. They tell you, they show you this, show you that. And over time, this is a writ of summons, this is a writ of fife, and that's how you become a lawyer. It takes time. Just from young lawyers, please appreciate the fact that it takes time. You will get there, but it takes time.
Thank you very much. Planet Silk. Thank you. I'll come back. However, I want to move to Ms. Shako now. What are the key challenges in maintaining professionalism in a business-driven legal environment? And how can this be addressed? I'll take that again. What are the key challenges in maintaining professionalism in a business-driven legal environment? Please share your thoughts with us from your jurisdiction.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for that question. Of course, you want to be a professional, but at the same time, you want to be business driven, and sometimes it can be challenging. And some of the challenges you face are, for example, commercial pressures. Yes. Yeah, I think that's the pressure to generate revenue, right? As a lawyer, you want your law firm to thrive, but at the same time, you don't want to compromise the ethical standards that are there. So I think that's a key challenge that exists.
That's it.
I think also in terms of adapting to a globalized legal landscape, I heard there are some students in the house that sometimes even what you studied, and even for all of us, even at the bar, you study contracts and torts and all these units, but then as you continue, the world moves towards certain themes and certain complex cases. You hear people talking about environmental sustainability, artificial intelligence. So again, trying to keep up with what is going on in the world, even as you try to do what is quote unquote traditional practice, can be an issue. And it's very important, just in terms of how to address that, to keep up to date with some of these challenges and not to stay within that framework. I think we saw that even during COVID, where everybody was so used to going to court, for example, and then suddenly the world shifts and you have to do virtual court. In Nigeria, I assume just like in Nairobi, you can do virtual courts now a lot more often. So you always have to keep up with the changes and at least accept that the world is not how you learnt it, when you did, I think that's really important. Somebody talked about competence. It's really important to uphold competence as a lawyer. You have to have the skill set that you present. So we are all in different areas. You can be in conveyancing, you can be in commercial, but are you competent to take up the work that you're saying that you're going to take? The money will follow, but it's only if you're competent that the client will come back. Because once you do the brief and it's terrible, they're not coming back. You don't take the money and run and say, at least I made $10,000 out of that brief. You make sure that you have the skill set so that when the next time when someone even wants, they can recommend you to their friend and say, that lawyer knows what they're doing. So you need to uphold the competence and the skills, and that's where the bar comes in. Also the continuous professional development to make sure that people are keeping up with the competencies that are needed. And I'm sure just like in Nairobi, you have the CPDs that the lawyers have to do, right?
That's true.
An important point, I think, is balancing, and I think SAN said it just now, balancing your workload and your well-being. If we want to have an honest conversation, for lawyers, a key challenge is balancing that well-being. Even when someone was introducing here, I saw someone taking a call that looked like work, right? Even now, can you just put away your phone and just listen for a minute? I saw a very heated conversation. I was like, that is work. Someone has called and it's time. And I know who it is. I'll talk to you after this. But you have to balance the stress. The interesting thing about dispute resolution is we learn how to resolve disputes. You have all these courses that we do, but no one helps us to understand the emotional turmoil and the mental turmoil that takes on us. As lawyers, we need to balance that. I think it's a very big challenge, and okay, at least let me speak from my jurisdiction. A lot of lawyers, for example, in litigation, deal with that stress through alcohol, right? That is your medicine. There should be a way to balance it that is not alcohol and drugs and things like that. Because you can look good, we all wear nice suits, but if you have that stress within you, then you don't really know how to manage it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Shago. Thank you. You raised a couple of points, and I think at this point I would like to do what we call shake the table. In your jurisdiction, as some of us experience here, balancing profitability with professionalism. Do you experience a situation where, let's say one of the biggest banks in Kenya is about to retain your services for recovery of $5 million, and the general counsel of the biggest bank in Kenya says, Ms. Shako, I want to give you this brief. However, can you play ball? The general counsel says, your fees will be 10%, but you have to share that 10%, that fees. Let's assume the 10% is $500,000. And the general counsel said the condition is for you to part with 50% of your fees. Now we're getting serious. Let's balance professionalism with profitability. I will come to our Nigerian counsel, Mr. Ononuga, Mr. Kongbe, but let's go to Kenya first. How do you deal with this scourge? I call it a scourge. It's penetrating into our system and it's becoming the norm.
First of all, that offer usually comes when your car is blinking and you don't have fuel. All right? When you're broke is when the devil looks for you. I think from my experience, one of the most shocking things I experienced when I started my law firm was that I used to think law firms were formed for profitability through client delivery. But a lot of law firms are washing money. A lot of law firms are not doing genuine business. You want to have a real conversation? We are not doing real business. So those kind of offers are not unique, and they happen every day. But for you, you have to decide where your ethics lie, right? As a professional. Because one thing about it is that I remember I used to have a friend who used to talk about how skilled he was at washing money. He doesn't have his law firm today. It does not have the longevity or the sustainability, because you will make those one-offs, but you will never buy a good reputation. You will never build your business to the point that it can be viable, because it is just a front for nothing, for air. So for me, I think those things are very realistic, and it's human nature to be attracted to that offer. As I said, your car is blinking and you need that fuel. But do you want to be here 10 years from now? Do you want a reputation that can hold substance, the respect of the bar? You need to really consider those questions. And it's not an easy, I actually believe that even for this panel, there are no easy answers. Is that true? There are no easy answers. And I can't claim to sit here and have all the answers. But for me, it's an ethical question, and it's not something that I would do just because I want my business to be there long term.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause for Ms. Shako from Kenya. Ms. Ononuga, what's your take? Before I go to your second question, you have 2 minutes. Your second question, by the way, is the role of technology in enhancing profitability and efficiency. However, what's your take on this issue where you are given a brief and the General Counsel says you will share your professional fees 50-50, or any percentage that seems ridiculous? What's your take before you go to the issue of technology? Thank you.
Okay. I would say that a good reputation is not one that can be bought with.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah, please go on.
Okay. A good reputation is not one that can be bought with money. Like I said, no amount of money or no relationship is worth your license. Even if you think you are making the money now, we've got to have a consequences mindset. You may think you are getting away with unethical conduct now, but you will realize that at the end of the day, your reputation is being ruined with even the clients that are encouraging such illegal conduct. And at the end of the day, when the chips are down, even those clients won't come back to you for work in the future. So no relationship is worth your license at the end of the day. Like Ms. Shako said, you won't have the longevity. Even when you think you're making the money now, at the end of when the chips are down, nothing is worth your license.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So please go straight to the issue of technology.
Technology, okay. In 2025, we're in 2025, and I dare say that technology is no longer optional. Technology is relevant for any law firm that wants to remain efficient and effective in the long term. Technology helps a lot. I would start with the fact that technology boosts productivity, and then it enhances research. Law firms can subscribe to online legal databases that makes access to case laws, legislations, and regulations faster and easier. I mean, the hours and hours that we used to spend traditionally, we don't have to spend such hours anymore, because by a click on a laptop and using the right key searches, keywords, we have access to these cases. AI, like Ms. Shako said, is not witchcraft. You've got to learn how to use AI to analyze case laws. Technology is also important because it helps with project management. It helps with invoices and billings. My law firm, for example, uses Next Counsel, which helps with billings, invoices. It helps to track expenses, helps with profitability. Like I said, online legal databases, NWLR, Law Pavilion, and the like. Technology also helps for social media engagement. Technology helps for website optimization. I mean, a good website will attract clients, a well-optimized website, and lawyers can get involved in search engine optimization. It can help to attract clients. I would also say that it's important. Lawyers nowadays cannot, subject to the rule of advertising, lawyers cannot do without social media. I mean, you've got to sell yourself, you've got to write articles, you've got to publish. You've just got to sell yourself on social media, sell yourself well, and put yourself out there. I would also say that technology helps with virtual collaboration. I know that for young ones like me, hybrid work has come to stay. So technology helps with virtual collaboration, with cloud computing. You can put your documents on the cloud. Everybody has access to them. But we cannot discuss technology without discussing its attendance risk. And I really want to talk to the young ones today. A friend shared a story of how she was reviewing an application, and the entire written address was AI generated, and the cases that were cited were cases that did not happen. And I'm aware that lawyers all over the world are beginning to face disciplinary panels for citing cases that did not happen. So in using technology, in using AI, we've got to always check for accuracy, we've got to check for bias. I mean, an AI platform analyzing a contract can flag risky clauses, but it's left for lawyers to adapt it, to determine how material such risks are. So you've got to adapt AI to whatever you're working on. I would also say that there's a risk of privacy. I mean, if you are sharing documents, you have to ensure that your documents are not being shared over insecure links. If you are taking meetings on Zoom or Microsoft Teams, you've got to ensure that you are not accidentally sharing clients' confidential information. So you've got to ensure that, law firms have got to ensure that they adopt cybersecurity best practices to ensure that they do not inadvertently breach clients' confidentiality. At the end of the day, technology is important, but we must be cautious with it. Thank you
very much. Thank you, Ms. Ononuga. In summary, you're saying that to boost profitability, technology is good. We must master technology. However, we must not, as practitioners, allow technology to master us.
Exactly.
Did I put it well? Thank you. Before we take Q&A, Alhaji Akongbe, I still have that question for you. That ethical question from clients. I want you to just in a minute share your thoughts on that issue.
So for context, tell me, is it the percentage that is the issue, or that any percentage was asked at all? Is it the 50%, or if you had been 5%, would your answer have been different?
Any percentage at all.
Okay, good. Well, I think that one of the things that you've got to bear in mind as a lawyer is that this business we're in, there's a higher calling to always exhibit integrity. And one thing that is my watchword is candor. Candor means that you have to be open, you have to be frank, and you have to be honest with your clients. Now, that's the fact, and being that I said means that you have to have the ability to uphold the rules of the professional ethics without the fear of, what if I get caught? So a lot of people will not do things because of the fear of being caught. But even when you know that you're not going to be caught, are you still going to uphold the rules? Are you going to exhibit candor? So the ethics of the profession says you can't do that. Where you know that even if you do it, nobody would know. It's between Aderemi and I, and we're good friends. Would you still do it? That's the standard. It's not the fear of, what if I get caught? Now, Mr. Agutoye talked about conflict of interest earlier on. I have had situations where, and my juniors will tell you that, where a client has told me they want to go to court. We don't want anything. Please, lawyer, proceed to court. I've looked at the case, and because of candor, I had to tell them that. I had to tell. Good afternoon, Prof. Sorry. Hey, sorry. Welcome. And I had to tell my client that no, we don't have a case here. Whilst I was saying that, my juniors and I were looking at each other that we're joking with thousands of dollars. But I was telling them that I've looked at this thing, this case. There's issue and stopper here. You don't have a cause of action. You would go to court, I'll get paid, but you get thrown out of court. The most recent one that happened to me was not up to 2 weeks ago. My lawyer, because of the fact that we have a culture, and every law firm must have its own culture. What's your culture? What do you stand for? Do you uphold ethics in your law firm? Up until even your writing style is part of culture in a law firm. How do you attend to clients? Part of culture. Because my lawyers know me. A client needed an injunction because they wanted to wrap up a transaction with a foreign client. And the foreign client needed that injunction as cover so that there can be backlash for them for entering that transaction. So they will say there's an injunction from Nigerian court. And they only needed it for 2 weeks. And I said to myself, you know that under the preemptive remedy, and my lawyer said to me that, but the contract says that the courts of New York shall be the courts that will have jurisdiction in case of dispute, and it shall be laws of New York. I looked at that and I said to myself, you know, if you want to be dishonest, we can approach the Lagos High Court under the preemptive remedies to go and obtain injunction quickly, whilst we serve the pro-action protocol forms for 30 days and we'll come back. And this thing would have been done. But when they come back, they will come and raise the issue of jurisdiction, that how could you have done this? And at the time I'm getting my injunction, court would not need to know whether there's jurisdiction or not, because they one-sided application, an ex-parte application. But candor must tell you, no, tell them the truth, don't do that. Uphold ethics, even if you're not going to be caught. Thank you.
Thank you, Alhaji Akombo. We have tried to explain how to balance the concept of professionalism with a drive for profitability. It's not an easy thing. When money is staring you at the face and you walk away on the altar of ethical inconvenience, it's not easy. If anyone says it's easy, they are lying. However, clean money, good money, only stays where there is reputation and integrity. Good money only stays where there is reputation and integrity. At this point in time, we're going to Q&A. I want us to please give a round of applause for Professor Dorothy Uforth. And I'll tell you why. Just yesterday, she got a call to be at the Dangote refinery this morning. And she went there for a 10 a.m. meeting, left at 12 in the rain, in the traffic, and she was able to make it down here. Please, another round of applause for Prof. Prof, it's time for Q&A, but I've already read your remarks, and I just want to yield the mic to you now to take the Q&A, ma. Thank you, ma.
Good afternoon, colleagues. It gives me great pleasure to be here with you. I was supposed to chair this panel that I'm very passionate about for the sake of our young lawyers. Unfortunately, we had a dry run, actually, and in the midst of it, I received a message that Alhaji Aliko Dangote wanted to see me unfailingly this morning at the refinery.
Profitability.
So, to be honest, exceptionally, I put profitability above professionalism. So I had to call everybody, but we made arrangements. I will try to be here. If I'm not here, this is what should happen. You should stand in my place and stuff like that. And this is a topic that I know that the Leonard Silk must have, done justice to. But it would have given me greater pleasure to read that overview to let our lawyers know. And one of the phrases that I got from my learned friend yesterday while we were doing the dry run was that no brief is worth my license. No brief. I think I told her that that is the catchphrase. I would have put it differently, but she just put it succinctly. No brief is worth my license. So when you're doing the wrong thing, I look at us all. In my own opinion, I think the legal profession is the biggest, the most important profession in the world. And it is the only profession that, even when Obama is a lawyer, his wife is a lawyer, he still needs a lawyer to advise him. So that is how important our profession is. And so, when we are pursuing profitability, I'm somebody who believes in lawyers working smart, working hard and working smart. But this should not be at the expense of integrity, ethics, and good faith. We must work hard as lawyers. We need to survive. You need to put food on the table. But let us do it within the precincts of ethics. We all know what is right. We all know what is not right. Let us play within the rules. I think that, I believe, captures all you have heard, since 1 o'clock that the
Session
started. I'm very happy. On my way, I had a flat tire and I called Tolu. Tolu is too persuasive. I said, Tolu, look, I've managed to escape from the refinery. Here on Lekki Road, I have a flat tire. Tolu said, please, please, please. And he's too persuasive for you to say no. So I'm here and I'm happy to see the house very full. And I believe that whatever you've heard on this panel will resonate with you, for you to know the way to take your practice. Please make money, but not at the expense of professionalism. Let's go back to thinking as lawyers. Let's look glamorous. Being ethical does not mean you should look down. But please, that money, let it come from a legitimate source. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. And your coming here at all costs is professionalism. Thank you very much, ma'am. We'll take 5 questions, 3 to 5. I see the hand of the gentleman, our colleague, on the far right. 3 questions, or 4, okay. I see the learned senior advocate of Nigeria and our leader at the bar, Chief Olisa Agbakoba. Then, please let everyone come to the mic. Chief Agbakoba will go first, and there's a lady.
Lewa.
Lady Lewa. Chief Agbakoba, over to you, sir.
I thought one point was missing. I enjoyed
Thank you, sir.
discussion very much.
Thank you, sir.
One point in my 47-year practice is professional pride. Skill. That's the way up. Skill. If you don't have skill, you ain't a lawyer. Period. I went for a surgery. Gallbladder. Simple but delicate because the gallbladder sits on top of the liver. And the mistake means you have a liver problem, you have a liver leak. So it took me time to choose. But when I met this Mr. Surgeon, I was convinced. It took me 30 years to become a master. I will not take any, look, as a client, don't come back. Don't come back. I have professional arrogance. If you retain me, I'll give you skill. I'll give you the best. So I will emphasize skill. And when you are good, like that Mr. whatever, Indian surgeon, I've sent 5 guys to him. If you are good, let me ask you, Lillian Silk.
Yes, sir.
If you were a top heart surgeon and you conducted an operation on me, I'm the one who will sing your name.
Yes, sir.
Not the power that clients think they have over us, not me.
Yes, sir.
If my doctor were to call me, I'd be wondering. I don't want my client to call me. Provide a service, he's happy because I've given him skill.
That's it.
And I go. Don't come back. It is that seeming greed that entraps us. That seeming allure that you want a client you retain. They know me. My guys are here. They know me. I don't have friends with clients. I don't. When I deliver, like my good friend yesterday who was here,
Yes.
when we delivered in the UK 2 to 3 months ago, I'm sure that Lide will always call me. Skill.
Thank you, sir. Please mention your name. Thank you very much, Leonard Silk. Skill, also competence.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm here.
Question, please.
Mine is more of a comment and an advice. So my friend Adoremi, you said that the in-house counsel will ask for 50% or a percentage of any brief that they're giving to external solicitors. Yesterday we took an oath that we will be ethical, and it is part of professionalism, and we're seniors at the bar. So when that in-house counsel requests for a percentage of the brief, of the amount that they will pay you for the brief, what steps do you take? Let us begin to report any in-house that asks you for a percentage to be ethical, because yesterday we took an oath, and as senior leaders of the bar, we need to set an example. It is only when you have an example that people will change. And vice versa. How about the external solicitor who also comes to offer the in-house lawyer that if you give me this brief, I will give you so amount. And so also in-house lawyers here present, if any external solicitor should come to you and say to you that I will give you so amount, give me the brief or give me briefs, please report such a lawyer so that we will begin to cleanse the bar. We do not want people to say that we are corrupt or that we are unethical or we are not professional. This is my contribution. I do not want to go home with this in my mind.
A round of applause for Lady Justina Lewa. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. Do you want to take the next mic?
Thank you very much, sir. My name is Izuchukwu Temilade Wagwara, and my question is this. Based on the question you asked Leonard Silk, Akongbe SEN, concerning young lawyers and tutelage and wanting to drive this and that. I read the book, The Mystery Gunman, by late Justice Kayode Esho, and he spoke that just within about a year of his practice in Jos, he was able to afford a car for himself. Now, he rightly answered that the problem is the economy, and then there was no much competition in Jos, so he was in demand. Justice Kayode Esho was in demand. And I understand that the economy is really not good and it's not really wide enough, and so we're all like, it's like fishes in a small pond. But the question is, are you convincing that young lawyer that you care for him, or is just disposable in your law firm? Are you willing to share profit in a sense, even though you are taking all the risk? Because it's not as if a young lawyer just wants to drive an SUV. How many young lawyers today can afford a Golf, a small golf car? So it's not really about driving the SUV. Can the young lawyer even afford anything? Because do the seniors see them as actual colleagues or as just disposable people? I mean, there are many law firms that do not even retain NYSC people now because they believe every year there will always be NYSC lawyers. And so they're not even interested in taking them seriously. So that's just my question. Are senior lawyers willing to even take them seriously? Thank you
very much. Thank you. We'll take your question. The chair of the panel will answer the question, but I will allow Erelu to come to the mic for a question.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's actually not a question, just a piece of information that I think highlights the professionalism and respect for the Lagos Bar in particular that the chairman of the session has. And I think she deserves a round of applause, because what we don't know is that the learned chair lives on that axis. Yes. So it would have been very easy for her to branch at VGC and go home and have a cup of tea. But she came all the way from that axis here to honor the bar, and we're very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. The question.
Well, my answer to the young man. You see, Leonard Silk, Police Agbakoba has told us about skill. And I want to assure you, in today's contemporary practice, there is no senior lawyer who would see a good and productive young lawyer and take that lawyer for granted. Because we've all been...
Let me see. Majority of the young lawyers disagree.
That what?
However, ladies and gentlemen, we hear you, but allow the professor to learn, please. Thank you.
I'm speaking from my perspective.
When she finishes, okay. There's time.
Good skill is in short supply. I will not take any good skill that I see in my firm. I will not take that person for granted. And people have to be happy. It depends on what you are contributing. You see, some people just come and mark their presence and feel that, oh, because this brief, they are monitoring everything that comes. Because this brief has come in, oh, madam has made so amount, or guy has made so, and they feel it's their entitlement. You see, we have to spend time to learn. That SUV, because we talked about it yesterday, that SUV will come. Bid your time. You see, I was trained by Mr. Harry Afolabi Lagna SAF, and I used to do a lot of work. My boss used to drive me away from the office. Sometimes he comes to lock the office and I shout, "Sir, I'm here, I'm still here, 10 o'clock. Do you find that these days? There are so many things that we have done as juniors that the juniors today don't have the patience to do. So I don't think any law firm worth its salt will just see a junior who is good and just use and dump that person. I won't do it, and I don't think any responsible senior here will do it. You see, you have to give before you take.
That's true.
Some people want to just take without giving. What have you contributed to the development of the firm, to the work and things like that. My boss used to give me briefs to write. And I finish writing and he says, oh, I'm going to adopt it hook, line, and sinker as mine. Do we have those today? Today, my fear of getting juniors is that you give somebody work to do, while reviewing it, you have to start all over again to do the work. So, as we have said, let us focus on our skill. And then you see, when you're good, you're marketable. If you are with him, he doesn't appreciate you. Focus and learn. When you're going to the next firm, it is the skills that you have acquired that you will use to market yourself, to negotiate a better deal. So you are never a loser once you are a lawyer and you are focused. So that's what I would tell you.
Thank you, Lanet.
The SUV will come.
It will come.
It will definitely come. But let us learn. You see, the reason why we are, doing shortcuts is because we have not focused on skills. The skills will definitely bring money.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Lanet Silk. A round of applause for the Lanet Silk. The money and the SUV will come.
Definitely.
It will come.
Definitely.
No matter how tense the economic outlook looks, the money will come.
Why would you use adopt somebody?
Ms. Shako,
you are looking for something.
I insist that you must tell us in 2 minutes how does it play out in Kenya, in Nairobi?
Oh, okay.
Please, just 2 minutes. The same question, because there are Gen Zs in Kenya.
One thing I've learned is to be scared of Gen Zs, even in Kenya. I think it's difficult to convince partners to share. I heard you say share profits with young people. Obviously, we'll say we are bearing the risk of the business and all that. The question is whether there's a pathway to success, right? I heard somebody saying that you want to get even that small goal, right? What is the pathway? And I think that's what our senior is communicating about skill set. But I would also add that I know it's not easy to build up, to have the patience when you don't have the money, but every day you're expected to look good, you're expected to show up, and you still, you're not making the kind of money that you'd like to make. I would say that you need to make yourself marketable, whether it's taking up new courses, because I honestly agree with her that I don't think senior people disrespect young people. I think they just don't, the young people are not yet packaging themselves in a way that would allow people to give you that respect that you'd like. How can you remedy? For me, I want to be more solution-oriented. How do you remedy this? Make yourself marketable. Honestly, if I had somebody young in my law firm who shows me how to use technology better, then that is someone that I start looking at for a promotion. When someone comes and starts telling me, hey, there's this whole conversation about environmental sustainability and this is how we can attract this kind of client, I think it's about trying to see what you can bring to the table. One thing I know is that complaining never solves anything. We can sit here and we can whine and we can complain. The reality is that nothing changes. Even with the economy, for example, in Kenya, people complain all the time, and it's true, it's a tough economy, and I'm from that same exact economy. But what do I do to make myself better? What do I do to make my farm better? And I think it's about what you can try to bring to the table. I don't think there's an easy answer to it. I think that the complaints are legitimate, but what can you do to turn it around for yourself? I would say take up more courses, become make yourself more marketable, bring something to the table that will have to catch the attention of your senior. Even booing your senior, it doesn't help with anything. Someone will still drive out in their Range Rover and you'll still walk out walking. So what can you do to change that reality? Take responsibility for your own life, take responsibility for your own skill set and your own competence and what you can try to bring to the table to make yourself better. You are no one's victim. And let me tell you, success is not handed over to anybody. You have to seek it out for yourself.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Our time is up. Our time is up. However, young lawyers We hear you. We hear you. Since COVID, and I have a word for the senior lawyers who are here, who are listening, it's important to listen to young lawyers as well. Let's listen to what they are saying. Let's listen to their body language. We may not be able to meet their needs. However, when we listen, we buy their trust. Since COVID, for example, in my firm, we did not go back to full service time law firm. It's been hybrid and it has remained hybrid. I'm not saying that every law firm here should apply that. In my firm, the lawyers only come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays. The litigators take their laptop to court. From court, they send updates to the firm, to the head of chambers, and to the client. What I'm saying in essence is that employers of labor in the legal profession must also change with the times. It's very important. Because the Gen Zs and millennials we're dealing with, they require that extra time of theirs to do some other things that they want to do. You must understand them. You must understand that those days, 20, 30, 40 years ago, where people stay in the office till 10 p.m. on a daily basis, the days are gone. It's the truth. My lawyers are here. Are we efficient? Are we making money? We're making plenty money. Employers of labor in the legal profession, we need to change and listen to our young lawyers. I'm not saying when they come in, you buy them SUV. My lawyers who are 4 or 5 years in the firm, they don't have SUV. They don't have cars yet. However, they see production, they see productivity, they see proficiency, they see a future, they see a trust, and they know that this man who owns this firm has their best interest at heart. We conduct appraisals twice a year, and every appraisal must come with an increase. Why would the inflation in the country be going up and you are not conducting appraisal as a business owner? You must conduct appraisal. An appraisal must factor in economic issues. Young lawyers, on the other hand, be patient. Your time will come. Thank you very much.
Please, may I say that please be on the lookout. Please be on the lookout. When Mr. Ogutoye is on his way out, look at his office address for the CDs.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are so grateful for your time, and I'm sure this was a very, very insightful session. And please let us give the panelists a very, very warm round of applause. MBA Lagos is so thankful for your time. And in this light, we would like to welcome Mrs. Bola Anima Shaun, the second Vice President of the NBA, to present awards to our panelists. Please give her a round of applause as we welcome her.